Hey guys, thanks for joining us on another Try Science. We're going to be reviewing a little bit about photosynthesis to prepare for any types of quizzes that you might be coming up on. Don't forget about your Cell City project. You might be doing a rough draft. You might be doing a final copy. Let's make sure you guys are keeping up on your homework. First question of the day. Global warming. Is it real? Let's take a look at global warming.
To understand climate change, think of the game Tetris. For eons, Earth has played a version of this game with blocks of carbon. They enter the atmosphere as carbon dioxide gas from volcanoes, decaying plant matter, breathing creatures, and the surface of the sea. And they leave the atmosphere when they're used by plants during photosynthesis, absorbed back into the ocean, or stored in soil and sediment. This game of Tetris is called the carbon cycle, and it's the engine of life on Earth. What's the connection to climate? Well, when that carbon dioxide is in the air waiting to be reabsorbed, it traps a portion of the sun's heat which would otherwise escape to space. That's why carbon dioxide is called a greenhouse gas. It creates a blanket of warmth known as the greenhouse effect that keeps our Earth from freezing like Mars. The more carbon dioxide blocks hang out in the atmosphere waiting to be cleared, the warmer Earth becomes. Though the amount of carbon in the atmosphere has varied through ice ages and asteroid impacts, over the past 8,000 years, the stable climate we know took shape, allowing human civilization to thrive. But about 200 years ago, we began digging up that old carbon that had been stored in the soil. These fossil fuels, coal, oil, and natural gas, are made from the buried remains of plants and animals that died long before humans evolved. The energy stored inside them was able to power our factories, cars, and power plants. But burning these fuels also injected new carbon blocks into Earth's Tetris game. At the same time, we cleared forests for agriculture, reducing the Earth's ability to remove the blocks. And since 1750, the amount of carbon in the atmosphere has increased by 40% and shows no sign of slowing. Just like in Tetris, the more blocks pile up, the harder it becomes to restore stability. The extra carbon dioxide in the atmosphere accelerates the greenhouse effect by trapping more heat near the surface and causing polar ice caps to melt. And the more they melt, the less sunlight they're able to reflect, making the oceans warm even faster. Sea levels rise, coastal populations are threatened with flooding, natural ecosystems are disrupted, and the weather becomes more extreme over time. Climate change may affect different people and places in different ways, but ultimately, it's a game that we're all stuck playing. And unlike in Tetris, we won't get a chance to start over and try again.
So it looks like photosynthesis is really tied into this idea of global warming, especially because of the gases that are in the atmosphere. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at photosynthesis by going over the homework you did in Schoology. In Schoology, we wanted you to figure out the things that are used and created by photosynthesis. Okay, first we need to know our formula, which involves carbon dioxide and water, with light being changed into glucose and oxygen. So when the arrows go towards the plant or to the cell, we want to say these are the things needed. Sunlight is needed. Carbon dioxide enters into the plant cell, going into the chloroplast. Here's where it comes from, people breathing out, fires, or other sources of carbon dioxide in the air. It's a gas. Water is a liquid, usually, that's absorbed by the plant roots, brought up through the stems to the leaves, and eventually into the cells. In the chloroplast, with light and these ingredients, chemicals are rearranged, taken apart, and rearranged, just like you could do with Legos, to create the two products of photosynthesis. Glucose, a molecule of sugar, and two oxygens, which are released into the environment in the form of oxygen gas, which could be breathed in by people. Why do we do this? To make food for the plant is the main reason. The oxygen is just a byproduct. It's left over. It's atoms we didn't need for the plant. Making the glucose is what we needed, okay, which is the food, the fuel. These atoms came from the atoms in the carbon dioxide in the water, which were taken apart, rearranged by a chemical reaction in the chloroplast. Why? Okay, let's describe photosynthesis in words. Let's start with plants' need and describe what they produce. What are the requirements and what do they make? Photosynthesis is all about making food for the plant cell. Water and carbon dioxide are turned into sugar and oxygen. That's the words version of our formula. Why is this so important? Not just for plants, but for animals as well. Photosynthesis is important because both plants and animals rely on this process for food and oxygen. Okay? So even though you're not a plant, you need energy. You're going to get your energy by eating food that plants made. So you eat plants or animals that ate plants. Either way, you're eating the food made by plants. And we also use the oxygen in the process of breaking that food into energy. If a plant runs out of water, what will happen? I'm not talking about what will happen to the overall plant. I'm talking about what happens to the photosynthetic formula. I'm talking about what happens here. If I remove the water, if the plant doesn't have water in its chloroplast, that means this water is gone. What happens? Can a plant make sugar if there's no water? Well, to make sugar, you're going to need 12 hydrogens. That's what this little 12 means. With just CO2, there's no hydrogen atoms. No hydrogen atoms, no sugar produced. Without water, there's not enough hydrogens and oxygens to complete the photosynthetic formula, creating food. So it's not that the plant will dry up, wilt, or be thirsty. In the terms of photosynthesis, there won't be enough atoms to make the sugar. The plant will be having no food. Interesting, right? Why do plants need light? What's light have to do with photosynthesis? What's the light do? Light is an energy source that allows the plant to split those water molecules and carbon dioxide molecules into their parts, just like you would pull apart Legos. And then you can rebuild those into some other shapes. Hydrogen and oxygen can then be used for photosynthesis. The light is what helps the plant get that process going. Okay? It's helping the process of breaking apart the atoms. Now, if we were to look at our photosynthesis in a picture, we've got our plant here. We've got our sunlight energy. We've got our carbon dioxide. We've got our water. And it's releasing oxygen, and it's making sugar that could be eaten by the plant or you if you ate the plant. So, is photosynthesis important? Well, I definitely think it's important, but what do you think? Why is photosynthesis such an important chemical reaction, making plants so super valuable and important? Here's what I would like you guys to do, to think about not only the fact that you might get energy by eating plants, but think about the gases involved. Remember how we started this lesson with global warming? Take a look at this graph. The blue line is the carbon dioxide air in the air being emitted by things like cars and pollution and different sources. Notice that it's going up a lot, especially since the early 1900s till now. The CO2 concentrations are also going up. So as we release more CO2, we're increasing the amount that's in the atmosphere. Not the same amount, because some of it's being absorbed by what? That's right, by plants. But plants aren't able to keep up with all the extra carbon dioxide that's being absorbed or being released into the atmosphere. Here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to go to Schoology and answer this discussion question. How can plants, like trees, lessen the effects of global warming? What does that mean? It means reduce the effects. Global warming happens when things warm up. Why do things warm up? Carbon dioxide in the air, like you just saw, traps heat like a greenhouse. The more carbon dioxide in the air, the more the greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide are building up, the warmer things get, and that can lead to problems such as global warming. Here's a diagram. Think about how you would answer this question. What do trees have to do with the global warming issue? Okay, go to Schoology, write your answer in the discussion, post it, and then you can look at some other people's answers and see what you think and reply if you'd like. That'd be great. Okay, but that is a graded assignment we did here in class. So make sure you hit that. Hey guys, great. If you've reviewed and you've checked out your notes to study, then great. Keep them out because you can use your notes when you go to eDoctrina and try your photosynthesis quiz. 15 questions using your notes. And we're going to do a retake tomorrow. So if you pop into class tomorrow, or if you're seeing this the day before, then you're going to take it twice. And I want you guys to do your best to try to get 100%, especially since you're looking at your notes right now. Okay, if you get done early, you can make sure you've got all your assignments done here, and then begin perhaps even your cell city. All right. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed our lesson today, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for trying science. Bye for now.